Okay people, it's off to Bunnings we go today, but it's not for the reason I would normally go to Bunnings. Normally I'd be going to Bunnings to do van renovations or repairs. However, my best friend has asked me to do a mural on her kids' playroom wall, and I've never done a large scale piece of artwork before, so it's something I have been wanting to do for a long time, so I'm quite excited that she's asked me to do it. I've planned out the design, but not necessarily the colours so much, but we're going to go to Bunnings, pick out some paints so that at least I've got all the primary colours so I can mix what I need. Yeah, but it'll be an interesting project. Let's go. So today's video is not just going to take you through the artistic process of painting my first wall mural, it's also going to be about connection and belonging. Because I haven't lived in a permanent house for over 4 years, but today I'm painting inside one, and it really made me realise something about belonging, and also in life how things can be temporary, because not only is artwork quite often temporary, but there's so many other things in van life that are like that too, you know, there's places you go, people you meet, so yeah, let's get into it. Now, when I was planning this project out, I knew I had to get the design onto the wall, and there are a few different ways you can do that. I could have drawn a grid, I could have learnt a new app, but to be honest, I didn't have the headspace for it to learn new IT, and I didn't have the time to do a grid. So I saw this rather rudimentary way of doing it just by drawing the design onto a bit of cellophane, cutting a hole in a box, putting that design onto the whole area and putting a light behind it, and it would just project it onto the wall, and it worked amazing, and it was really simple and I loved it. Now, a lot of my other artwork, I don't really do landscapes because I just don't enjoy them. I find them a little bit too tedious, and I just enjoy focusing on one particular animal. However, obviously with this wall mural, I needed to bring it all together with a landscape. So I knew I had to layer it all, and I did draw the design completely on the wall to start with, which was obviously pointless. I didn't need to do that, so that was first lesson learnt. I just needed to make sure I had the circle there and the right proportions of the landscaped areas. And then I just used a roller to block in those colours, because if I was to use a paintbrush, you'll be able to see the brush strokes. It just gives a much nicer look with the cleaner look with the roller. Funnily enough, I actually found this part of the process to be one of my favourite parts because it was quite meditative. I didn't actually need to think too much about, you know, trying to create depth or detail in a particular area. It was literally just filling in those blocked areas of colour. And so my mind was at rest, but I was still having to use some skill. So it really got the creative process off to a good start. And in this creative process, I have to admit, my friend put so much trust in me with this wall mural, because all I'd shown her and hubby was just a very simple basic design on a piece of paper. There was no colour, there was no detail, and she just has so much trust in me to do a good job. And to be honest, I didn't want to put too much detail in the original design because I like to be able to let creativity flow. So I go into it not worrying about what the end result is going to look like. I go into it just going, okay, I'm going to have fun. It was just a matter of going in and allowing the artwork to unfold as I go. So I had the idea in my head of where everything was going to be and kind of how it was going to look, but really I didn't want to worry too much about how it would all come together. Even the colours, originally I was going to make the cow brown, but when I started working with all the colours, I realised, well, I've got a fair bit of brown in there already, so I thought, okay, I'm going to make the cow black and white because it will stand out more. And we originally were going to do a kookaburra on the branch, and then I thought I'll do a black cockatoo, but then Heidi has recently fallen in love with a white cockatoo that she met called Sammy. So we wound up doing the white cockatoo, which turned out perfect against the blue background. So It's one of those things I like to leave it open-ended and just work on it as I go, because when you're in the moment, when you're doing it in the moment, that's where creativity flows. That's where ideas come to you when you're not worrying about the future. There's actually something that's quite deeply unsettling about starting something new. And it's not because you don't want to, it's because you do. Because the moment you step outside that comfort zone, there's no guarantee of success. There's no proof that it will work. You don't get any reassurance that you won't fail or be judged, or realise halfway through that you're not as capable as you hoped you were. And yet, that's where creation begins. This wall mural is the first one I've ever painted, not on a canvas, not on a sketchbook, but on someone else's wall, in someone else's home. And it's a brand new home at that. And even though I was so excited to do it, it was also terrifying. My best friend and I, we became friends because we used to work together. And we worked together so well because we were both very particular. So we both have a certain standard that we want to meet in life. So I knew her standard was high. When you create with something new, you're not just using paint or tools or ideas. You're placing faith in yourself. You're saying that you trust your instincts enough to try. And that's a bold thing to do in a world that constantly tells us to wait until we're ready, qualified, experienced, or perfect. But creativity doesn't wait for permission. It shows up as a quiet nudge, a persistent idea, a feeling that says, I wonder if I could. And the scary part isn't the doing, it's answering that call. Because once you do, there's no going back to pretending you didn't feel it. Comfort zones feel safe because they're familiar. Even when they're limiting, even when they keep us small. Staying where we already know the outcome means we don't have to risk disappointment. But it also means we don't get to experience full growth, surprise, or connection. Creating this mural meant stepping into uncertainty, not knowing if I would like it, not knowing if others would like it, not knowing if I was good enough to do something so permanent. That creativity isn't meant to be comfortable, it's meant to be alive. And my backup plan was always that if it didn't look good, I could always paint over it. But here's something I've learned to believe deeply. If you've been given creativity, if ideas come to you, if you feel called to make things, if your hands itch to bring something into the world, then it's your responsibility to honour that. Not for perfection, not for any validation, but because unexpressed creativity doesn't disappear, it stagnates. And stagnant creativity often turns into self-doubt, frustration, or a quiet sadness we can't quite name. Creating isn't selfish, it's generous. This wall mural isn't just paint on a wall for me. It's something that will live in the room of 2, almost 3 children's room that mean the absolute world to me. It will become part of their bedtime stories, their early mornings, their imaginary worlds, and memories that will outlast the brushstrokes. That's the power of creating something and releasing it into the world. When we bring to life our creativity, it doesn't stop with us. It ripples outward. Someone else feels joy. Someone else feels inspired. Someone else feels seen. And none of that can happen if we keep our ideas locked away because we're scared. Fear doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing. Often it means you're doing something that matters. Every time I have doubted myself during this process, I reminded myself, this isn't about proving anything. This is about participating, about saying yes to growth, yes to learning, yes to trusting that showing up imperfectly is better than not showing up at all. Creativity grows through movement, not certainty. Putting faith in yourself doesn't mean believing you'll never fail. It means believing that even if you do, you will learn, adapt, and keep going. It means trusting that your voice, your vision, your way of seeing the world has value, simply because it exists. No one else can create what you're here to create. And the world is quieter, it is duller, and less alive when you withhold it. If I hadn't done this wall mural, I would not have spent 4 amazing days with 3 amazing humans. I would not have seen the pure joy on 2 young children's face when they saw the mural and started to name all the animals. I would not have had, I love you, Auntie Christie, most days. I would not have had an endless amount of hugs, high fives, smiles. By creating this piece for people that I love, it has brought me closer to them. It has brought me closer to myself. It has shown me that I am capable. And it has shown all of you why being creative matters. If there's something you've been wanting to try, something that scares you enough to matter, consider this your sign. You don't need to leap, you just need to begin. 1 brushstroke, 1 sentence, 1 step outside the familiar. Let it be messy, let it be imperfect, let it be real. Because joy doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from engaging fully in what wants to be expressed through you. Okay, this has actually been so much fun and I'm learning so much from this process. So I'm actually really enjoying doing the larger parts of it rather than the detail. So when I was working on the fence, it was these big brush strokes and you can sort of see the creativity come to light a lot quicker when you're doing the larger scale and you're not getting so bogged down in the detail. And I do have to try and remember that, you know, larger scale projects don't, and especially like when it's for a kid's room, you don't necessarily need to go into too much detail. And maybe I am still doing too much, I don't know, but yeah, for me that's what creates that depth in the piece. So yeah, but it's taking longer than I anticipated. I was hoping to kind of have the bulk of it finished today, and it's only due at 2 o'clock, so I've still got a few hours left. So I'm hoping that, yeah, I might just finish this chicken off. I still got to do more detail on the dog, and I don't know, there's lots of little bits and pieces I still want to do, but if I can get the tree bark done and some leaves done, then I feel like I could probably just reveal the piece at least to my friend and maybe the kids. But yeah, I'll still stay here for a few days and just work on bits and pieces of it. Yeah, but pretty happy with it so far. So I have to admit that creating this piece of artwork was not the only thing I was nervous about in doing this project. I have been living a very solitary life for the last over 4 years in my van. It was like living with three friends, because I had 2 little friends with me too, because hubby was away. And it was like mid-30s, and their home is on this beautiful rural property. So it was obviously a lot warmer. It was away from the ocean. So I stayed in the house and I actually had an absolute ball. It was so much fun living with my best friend, and Heidi, who is 2, is just so personable and she's so intelligent. And she just shows you so much love, and she's so excited every morning to see you. So it was actually just so beautiful. And then Lucas is one, and so that grin he has is so cheeky. And the way that they all just accepted me into their daily lives, it was so beautiful. And so I would mainly just do the artwork when they were out for the day or they were sleeping, and then I was sort of wanting to be involved in their daily lives outside of that, you know, bath times and meal times. And it was such a contrast to my normal life, which brings me to that sense of belonging, because when you live van life, you lack that sense of belonging and community. Quite often, even just having a job to go to every day is a sense of belonging and community, because you're interacting with the same people every day. So because I work remotely, I'm traveling solo, I'm living solo, it's a really different life, and I wasn't sure how I was going to go, to be really honest, like just living with people again. But I completely loved it, but it made me realise it's not about, it's not a home or a job that gives you that sense of belonging, it's the right people. So it's having the right people around you and that make you feel like you belong with them. And my best friend, Tiet, she has always been that person that just has believed in me from the word go. She is just always uplifting me and encouraging me, and I hope I do the same for her. She has seen me grow from a completely different person when we work together to this nomad hippie that drives around the country in her van, living her best barefoot life, and just accepted me along the whole way and has encouraged me every step of the way with YouTube, with my artwork, with travelling. And even though we don't see each other every day, we don't speak every day, when we do see each other, we are so present, and it's like we never left each other, and they're the sort of friendships you really want to keep in your life. And that leads me on to the idea of impermanence. So quite often artwork might only be temporary, and I think, even this mural, it won't last forever, because the room will change, the kids will grow, they'll want something else, they might want to change the room into something else, but that doesn't make this any less meaningful. If anything, I think it makes it more meaningful. When you create something knowing that it won't last forever, you let go of control and you're present with it. You don't cling to the outcome. And living as a nomad, it teaches you that same lesson. There are no fixed addresses or guarantees of how long a place will feel like home. There's no permanence in scenery or routine. There is no constant sense of belonging or community. And so when you do meet people that you vibe with, it's a lot more present. You're a lot more present with them because you know that moment is going to be temporary. And I don't think that necessarily means instability. I think it just means movement. It means you're learning how to be somewhere fully. It means loving people and places without trying to own them. And just like the mural, I didn't create it to own it or have it last forever. I just created it to exist now. And it means so much to me because it exists because of a beautiful friendship, because of trust, and because someone made room for me. And that's what home looks like to me.
Sunlight dances on the balcony as I wait for thee to come home. I fumble my words, yeah, my mind's a mess when you're in that dress. Glad you're home. Will you stay with me and never leave? You walked into my life and I am glad you came.
Okay, well, we're pretty much done. We got so close to the finishing line and then bang, my arm decided to have an injury. I think it was a bit of repetitive strain from just opening the jars all the time, and anyway. So I've finished most of it. The only thing I haven't been able to finish off is the dog, but that's fine. I'm going to come back in a couple of weeks and finish it off. And it gives, Tiet, my friend, a bit of time to have a look at it and see if there's anything else she wants to change in that time. So yeah, I'm headed down south for a couple of weeks, then I'll be back and can finish it off properly. But we've decided we can still reveal it to the kids today, so we're pretty excited to see their reaction. My daughter's coming over first, so I'll show her. I have been keeping her updated, but anyway, well, she hasn't seen it in real life yet. But this is the finished piece as it stands. So yeah, want to do a bit more shading on the dog, but I'm pretty happy with it. Things we didn't originally have in here were this piece here. The kids can hear me because I can't say what it is, but and this bit here. We do still want to add in another branch here with some leaves. The only thing I'm probably not really happy with is the grass, so I may change that, but the rest of it I'm super stoked with, super happy with how the tree turned out. Do want to still do some finishing touches on the cow, but yeah, let's see what the kids think.
Oh my god, I'm actually nervous. Oh my god! The flowers are so pretty on it. Oh my god.
What do you reckon? Does it all look okay?
Oh my god, it looks amazing. It looks so good.
What is it? What is it?
Let's go have a look. Come on, Lucas.
Can you see? What is it? What is it? Can you see which animals do you like up there? What animals are there? Sorry? Sammy. Did you see Sammy?
Which one's Sammy? Which animal is that?
Up here? Can you hold this, Ella, and I'll
Which one is it?
lift you up and then we'll go see which one's Sammy. Whoa! Okay, which one's Sammy? You gonna point it out? Yes! Sammy! The cockatoo! Whoops!
What
What
animals
else?
do you see?
What else? What's this one?
A cow moo.
Oh, cow moo. I think what's this one down here? Do you know? Pig. Very good. Very good. Who's this one? Woof. Like a dog? Do you know what that one is? Tractor. Very good. So good. Well done.
Oh, what did you say what that one is?
Hey.
Good
you're
job.
So clever. How clever are you? Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's amazing. Look at it.
What do you think, Lucas? Wow, what is that? Look, that's different.
What do you
That
see?
wasn't there before. Choose this one up here. Do you know what that one is? Chicken! Yes! What noise is